So welcome. If you're watching live, I'm going to be playing the harp for just a minute or two, and then we'll be talking about enlightenment. What is it really? Philip Wade here from the Universal Studio in North Yorkshire. So, okay, here we go then. Namaste. Namaste. I just felt compelled from within, not having done a live for probably about 2 or 3 weeks now, just to talk about enlightenment. I saw some posts this morning on Facebook streams and using that word, and just felt called because there's so much misunderstanding around the term, just to kind of unpack it a little bit and explain a little bit from the inner place what it really is. So welcome to Claire and Patty. I can see you're there as well. So I'm going to start off by saying something that may at first appear to be a very radical offering, very radical statement to make, but as I unpack it, it will become clear why, or it should become clear why I've expressed it this way. And I'm doing it this way to kind of try to make a point that is easily misunderstood and actually then becomes a block to the realization of the self or the enlightenment that I'm talking about. And that's this. The statement is this. Listen carefully to this. There's never been, and there never will be, an enlightened person on this planet. There's never been, and there never will be, an enlightened person on this planet. Now that may seem to the mind to be incredible, because the mind immediately might kind of go, well, what about the Buddha? What about Christ? What about Krishna? What about Osho? What about current people? And I'm not denying in any way the realizations that flowered in those beings. But you see, enlightenment and personhood are not bedfellows. Enlightenment, self-realization, is the complete absence of personhood. It is a complete dissolution of the identification with, and the belief that all you are is this body-mind complex, this person that you have thought and believed yourself to be for however long you have been in this body, in this life. But as the realization, the enlightenment emerges, is seen, recognized, realized, remembered, what is absolutely crystal clear is that there's never been a time when one was not that. And that I'm talking about, the infinite silence, the infinite consciousness, or the infinite awareness, is in fact that which you already are. And always will be, and it's not personal in any shape or form. It has nothing to do with personhood. It is simply a field of absolute awareness, infinite energy that is the animating principle of the entire universe. And this form, this body that you have, is simply one of its infinite variety of expressions. It's the realization that one is in fact the universe, but it's not personal. And yet here, the universe comes to know itself in its own experience through its projection into the physical domain in your form, this form that you know as Philip, and the infinite variety of this planet and this universe that we live in. I often like to talk of it as like a diamond. You see, a diamond, you see the beauty of a diamond through its facets and experience the beauty of a diamond through its facets. And as the light strikes the diamonds and glints off the facets, one can see and experience the beauty of a diamond. But the facet is not separate from the diamond itself. It is one with it. And that's what your form is like. It is an expression of the diamond, and the luminosity, the inner light, comes from the totality of the diamond. And that, the realization of that totality, that one is the totality and it's not personal in any way, shape or form, is what enlightenment or self-realization, and this self is a non-personal self, a non-personal awareness as infinite silence or infinite awareness, is what enlightenment is. It's not a person that becomes enlightened. One is the enlightenment, and it is realized that one is that. This doesn't actually devalue the form or the realization. Actually, no, what it does is shows the beauty of that, because in that, as that awareness, there is no experience. There is just the formless, timeless, beyond space, beyond being, presence that is infinite silence, and that's all. And so there is no experience because there is no contrast. And so this chooses, if you like, to express and experience itself in the physical domain, and thus creates the opportunity to come to know itself in its own experience. And herein then is the beauty of life in the physical domain, because it affords the opportunity for an experiential realization of this to be seen. And it's completely and utterly nothing to do with personhood. I've seen some adverts recently for a new series that I don't know if it's coming out on Netflix or something like that. Anyway, it's called The Chosen. The Chosen, I think it's called The Chosen. And it's in reference to the life of Christ, and having been brought up as a Catholic that left behind many years ago now, there's a profound misunderstanding in the way that that is articulated, because we talk about the chosen one or the chosen people. That's what's spoken about in religion and in many other ways. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding. There is no single chosen individual like Christ, Buddha, Osho, Krishna, whatever. No. Everything and everyone, and everything and everyone is the chosen. An insight that came to me once was to express it this way: it's the chosen oneness. The chosen oneness. And what that means is, although this realization, this flowering, may not appear to have occurred in your form just yet, actually it's already here, and it's about making and accepting the inner choice to realize one is already this, which will involve a total dissolution of you buying into the idea that all that you are is this body-mind. It is, if you like, the price of the realization, although it is not a cost price. To the ego mind, it seems a scary thing. But as that fear of that is dissolved, the realization of this enlightenment, this self-realization, is in fact inevitable. For there has never been a time when one was not this. It's only because we buy and are so attached to the idea that we are this body-mind that the realization doesn't flower. And that is true for a huge proportion of the population of the planet. But it doesn't have to be this way. It does not have to be this way. It is here now, and you, non-personal, are it. And it can be expressed in its own unique and beautiful, beyond words way in this form that you have. It may be one of a woman or a man, but this body is something that you have, but it is not that which you are. Let me say that again. It is something that you have, but it is not that which you are. It is the facet of the diamond, but one is the whole diamond, plain and simple. Another trigger for going live this morning was something that somebody else had shared, and it reminded me of an insight that emerged whilst coming back on a flight from the Canary Island of Lanzarote, and I was reflecting on sharing the message of spiritual self-realization with the words in my head of "in the beginning." And I was reflecting about how to articulate and express this particular part to people. Closed my eyes, went into the silence, merged with the silence, and immediately the words emerged. Was the end. In the beginning was the end. What that means is the eternity is always here, and you are that now. In the beginning was the end. You are this. Never has there been a time, and never will there be a time when one is not this infinite silence, this infinite awareness. It doesn't require you to believe a single word of anything that you may perceive that this guy called Philip has shared here this morning. Nothing to do with belief, for as it is realized, it will become self-evident. Truth is self-evident. It will be the greatest, oh my gosh, moment in the history of the universe. Oh my gosh, I am that, and this I is the infinite I. And that which you thought that you were, the body-mind, will be seen to be not so, and that which you have always been, the infinite silence or the infinite awareness, is ever present. That's what enlightenment is. It's not personal, and hence my opening gambit, if you like, Never has there been a time, and there never will be a time, when there's an enlightened person. Enlightenment is nothing to do with personhood, and everything to do with the realization that all one is infinite awareness. And it is expressed in infinite variety, like the facets of a diamond. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to share about that today. I trust that that has been useful in some way. And what I'm going to do is finish off. I hope I've got it on here, actually, having said that. Let me just have a quick look. Yes, I have. What I'm going to do now is share an 8-minute piece that was a response to questions on a live stream about this. But in sharing this, I just want to say a couple of other things. Some of you may have seen it before. It's worth watching again. That the flowering that's described here, that happened, shall we say, for the purposes of this video, in this form that we think of as Philip. This is just our way. It's not the only way. This realization can and will flower if you are open to it in many and indeed infinite ways, as infinite as the number of expressions of it. Yet, that which is realized remains unchanged, unmoved by that. And if you want to know why you are here in this life now, it is to realize that which I've been talking about and I'm about to share here now. So please enjoy this. It's about 8 minutes, and I'll come back again after this just to say a little more. And I'm feeling called tonight. I don't normally do this, but given some of the questions and comments tonight, I feel it's important for me to share a little bit about my own experience with this, and you can take that or leave it. But in essence, this realization, the question earlier on, what can I do to bring peace to the world? It's about realizing that which you really are. And that is very much beyond the body-mind. The body-mind is a gift from this realization, this infinite awareness, to experience itself. And just to clarify the experience that unfolded in the form that we call Philip, and I'm using it very third person there deliberately, was like this. And you can take from this whatever you like. After a series of very, very profound spiritual experiences having dissolved lots of emotional energy over a number of years, in a very, 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 very deep meditative space, back in 2014, suddenly there was the clearest, deepest and profoundest realization for which there are no words. In that essence, that realization, there was no body, there was no sense of a body, no sense of an identity of what you might call Philip. There was an absolute sense of eternity, just eternity, and a knowing, a remembering, a realizing that this eternity, this that was being noticed, realized, was in fact that which we all are. It was unmistakable, unequivocal realization. And in that space, or as that space even, because there was no sense of a body, two words emerged. And those two words were infinite silence. And as those two words sounded in that infinite space, the subtlest awareness, the subtlest realization of this body, Philip's body, began to re-emerge. It was like it wasn't there before, and suddenly there was an awareness of the form of Philip's very, very, very slowly starting to emerge. But there was now, I sometimes say it this way, everything had changed and nothing had changed. And what I mean by that, everything had changed in the sense that that which I thought I was, which was Philip, the man with these experiences, I now realized, or it was now realized, that actually, whilst that experience was valid and profound and what have you, as Philip, it isn't actually that which one truly is. So everything had changed in terms of there was more to this than had been realized before, and nothing had changed in the sense that the realization of the infinite silence, or infinite awareness, or true self, was that which we are, non-personal. We are all that. And you don't need to believe me on that, because this realization is so clear, so unequivocal, it can't be missed. It can't be missed. Whatever name you want to give that, that's fine, because this is before and beyond all names, all labels. Labels are absolutely meaningless to it, names are too. And yet it is the power, the self-aware, big S, non-personal, self-aware energy of the universe. And it is from that experience, and one in 2011, is why I share this in the way that I do, and these infinite silence meditations. The blessing of that, the realization of that, is a power and a grace beyond your wildest imaginings. And so in answer to the question, what can one do to make a difference in this world, be open to this realization, because it's not just here for the special few. The Buddha, Jesus, or many other realized beings. It is here for us all. And if it can happen in this body, a former chartered civil engineer, as grounded as profession as you can get, it can happen and be realized in your form. It is here for us all. Transformed this life that you see here in front of you as Philip, totally, utterly, completely. And the knowing, the realizing is that actually you too, we are all this. And it doesn't require you to believe a single word I say. So felt called to share that tonight, given the number of questions and comments that were coming about this. Needed to clarify that. You can give that realization whatever label you like. The traditional spiritual terms are self-realization, but this self is a non-personal awareness. So namaste, thank you for watching this. And for those of you who've been up with me all along, you'll now perhaps have a clearer inner standing, not understanding, but inner standing of what I was pointing at right at the start. That this realization, this enlightenment, is totally and utterly non-personal. And if one is prepared to listen to that inner calling, which is arising within all of us, always, to listen and be open to this, then this flowering, the lotus blossoming, the enlightenment, the realization of the self as infinite silence or infinite consciousness or infinite awareness, is here for us all now. And that is the chosen oneness. And I'm hoping you might just have heard there one of our golden retrievers barking, and if you heard me talking to them, they were barking in the distance just during the little video. So hopefully that didn't happen, but if the mic is on, and it might be, then you may pick them up. Anyway, never mind. That's all I wanted to say today. What enlightenment really is. Philip Wade here from the Universal Studio, and that's Joel barking, joining in. And by the way, his name, which came to me in meditation, means Yahweh is God. So that's very appropriate. Anyway, I'll leave it with you. Enjoy the harp. Namaste. So I'm going to close the stream now, folks. Joel's obviously wanting some attention. Thank you for watching. Philip Wade signing off here from the Universal Studio. Look out for further live streams. If there's a little notification, I think if you're watching on a mobile device, you can click that notifies you whenever I go live. So look out for that. Have a great day. Blessings. And just be open to that which is here for us all. Bye now.